Now, choosing the right wireless router isn't as straightforward as a smartphone. So you're gonna consider a lot of factors such as coverage, the number of users that you need to connect, and also security features and so many other things when you want to purchase a wireless router. So what we have here today in the studio is the D-Link DIR-895L. This isn't really the latest model from D-Link, but it is no doubt still one of the most powerful Wi-Fi AC routers out there. So as you can see, it claims that it is the ultimate HD streaming and gaming router, which means it is made to withstand a lot of simultaneous connections and a lot of user requests. The most powerful kind of router that you will ever seen in the market. So I'm Warren with KLGadgetTV, and today we're going to find out what the D-Link DIR-895L is all about. As you can see on the front face of the router's box, the D-Link DIR-895L is a very large router. So we have some highlight features right here. So it has 4x4 data stream, which means a lot of users can be transferring data or even do video streaming through this router simultaneously. And it has a 1.4 GHz Broadcom dual-core processor. It has MIMO technology, pretty common on Wi-Fi AC routers these days, and most importantly, tri-band Wi-Fi. So it has one 2.4 GHz bands and two 5 GHz bands. So that's pretty interesting. So let's unbox the device by taking out the lid just like this. Okay, this is like, you can see, like an alien. Such a huge router. And this is how big the router is. It looks like an alien, or you know, it feels like a shield, or you can even call it, I prefer to call it like a stingray, you know, because a stingray without a tail, it really looks like a head of a stingray. So we have user manuals, of course, inside. 8 antennas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A total of 8 antennas on this Stingray. Okay, so we have a pretty huge power brick here. It actually requires a power brick to power this up. I'm not surprised, because for such a huge footprint, you will need a lot of power to power it up. A RJ45, wow, this is a nice flat cable, not that kind of thick one. And we have a power cord, a 3-pin UK power cord, screws. So apparently you can actually mount this router on the wall if you prefer it to, but I prefer to just leave it on a flat surface and so on. And here's another power cord for the US, a 2-pin cord. Now this is one of the most unique design I've seen for a router. As you can see on the top here, we have a very nice gloss red color finishing. The chassis is made of plastic, not metal, which explains why the router is actually not as heavy as you think. So let's take a look around at the hardware itself. So as we turn over to the back, we can actually see that there's actually cooling vents right here, a lot of holes for cooling, which is actually pretty good. And on the front here, we have white color LED indicators for the power, WAN connection, 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi connection, 5 GHz Wi-Fi connection, and the 2 USB ports at the back. So this router doesn't have LED indicator lights for each of the LAN ports, which is kind of funny, because if you do not have those LED indicators, you don't even know whether these LAN ports are working or not. So let's talk about the ports right now. So we have a Ethernet port, the one port, 4 gigabit Ethernet ports, a WPS button for wireless authentication, a USB 2.0, USB 3.0 port, and finally there's a little switch right here, tiny switch right here that says router and extender. So apparently you can actually switch the router modes on the fly by just switching this switch over here, and it can actually turn into a pretty expensive extender. Yeah, this thing can become a wireless extender if you want it, but I'm sure you're not going to do that. The setup process of the DIR-895L is pretty straightforward, and I'm glad that D-Link has preset a secure SSID for setting up the router for the first time, and you can easily retrieve the password from the bottom of the router. So once you're connected to the router, simply enter 192.168.0.1 in your browser to set up the router. The setup wizard is so simple that it merely took about 4 steps to get connected to the internet. Once done, you will be brought to a very clean dashboard, showing you how the router is connected to the internet and the number of clients connected. For those who are new to router configurations, the DIR-895L's UI is very user-friendly. Features of the router can be accessed from the drop-down menus on the top, and almost every configuration page looks clean. For the advanced users, the standard router features such as QoS, DDNS, and VPN are present. However, for such a powerful router, there are still some features missing right here, including a VPN client and download manager. While the USB ports are useful for sharing storage and printers across the network, I was rather surprised that it doesn't support USB modems, which is already a standard feature even on entry-level routers. In terms of performance, I did a file transfer test with a hard drive connected to the router's USB 3.0 port and a NAS on both the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz network. The wireless adapter that I used is a D-Link DIR-895L, which supports a maximum speed of up to 1300 megabits per second. Here's a diagram of our test environment, where we have picked 3 spots in our 1000 square feet studio office to perform the test. Location A is 5 meters away from the router, location B is 10 meters away, while location C is our pantry, which is blocked by a wall. During the test, there were 30 connected devices on both wired and wireless. The router's USB 3.0 transfer speeds are consistent on both the network bands, though they are still significantly slower than the standard USB hard drive speed. Transfer speeds between the NAS is a lot better, and results are very close to a tethered network connection. Although transfer speeds drop significantly on location C, I would say that it is still pretty decent. As for testing our 300 megabit per second internet connection, I used an iPad Pro 10.5, run the speed test app, and connect to the same test server. And speed test results on the 2.4 GHz network isn't that satisfactory, especially when testing at location C, but ping response for all locations is still great. By all means, the DIR-895L is a powerful wireless router with a very attractive hardware design. The software is fast and easy to navigate around. Network coverage and speeds are on par in the flagship router category. However, the lack of certain features as mentioned previously makes it a difficult recommendation to power users, especially when the router is priced at 1,779 ringgit. However, if you are looking for a wireless router that can connect many devices without affecting speed and offers great coverage, the DIR-895L is definitely a great product that we recommend.